Hey everybody, it's your boy Davis on Con Freaks and Geeks, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Pop Culture Gems. This is a series where we talk to amazing creators, artists, cosplayers, voice actors, and more. If you want to check out more of this series, give us a thumbs up, a follow, a subscribe, what have you, to any of our YouTube channel, the CFG channel, or you can listen to it on any podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, what have you. If you want to check out the full fantastic geeky content in one area, you can always check out our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, for the whole package. My guest this episode is an incredible voice actor that's been a part of some great video games and anime series. He's played the hero Ring Schwarzer from the amazing Trails of Cold Steel's RPG series, the quirky / nerdy Yuki Mishima in Persona 5, as well as your favorite neat shut-in Subaru Natsuki in Re:Zero, the anime series, to just name a few awesome things he has done. I would like to welcome Sean Chiplock to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Oh man, it's on a day by day basis, my dude, because like obviously we've got the pandemic situation going on,
Mhm.
but in my case, like the initial stress of like upgrading my studio was huge, but ever since that finished, it's just been a non-stop roller coaster of work.
Really?
I am
Wow.
I'm a person who gets very antsy. I mean, I enjoy my free time as much as anybody else, and I enjoy
Right.
when I get to stay home and play games. Like when the pandemic first started, this is true. I looked this up. In the first month since Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, I managed to log more hours on that game in a month, maybe a month and a half, than all of Smash Brothers Ultimate since the day it came out
Are you
in late
serious?
20. I looked at it and I
Oh my
double checked
God.
and was like, how is that possible? Because I'm a big Smash Brothers fan. I not only would play it at home on Wi-Fi, I would bring it to tournaments and bring it as a setup and people would use it. So we had those hours being logged too. And I still managed to log more on Animal Crossing in that
That
first
is
month and a half.
insane. That is insane.
But
You know what's funny when you say
what?
that too, because okay, so like I believe the quarantine kind of started happening like
Right.
around March, right?
Yep. Yeah. March
So
19th is when we California started this stay-at-home order. That's when it truly began for everyone here.
yeah. So we got the keys for Persona 5 Royal when it came out, and then I was like, okay, I need to do the review. And usually with RPGs like that, I kind of take my time, but when we do reviews, it probably takes me about 2 to 3 weeks. I played. It took me. I think this is the longest. Persona 5 Royal right now is I clocked the longest I've ever clocked in an RPG in like 15 years, and it was like 250 hours, something ridiculous. And I was like, I did all of this in less than 2 weeks. It's like because of the quarantine, I had that kind of time and stuff. And I'm
Right.
just, it is insane. You're totally right about that. It's so insane. Like
So
what happened.
So obviously that first month was great, but then things started finally picking back up. Studios were
Mhm.
reaching out, asking about, what's your home setup like? When are you available to start? We had to get the ball rolling again, and the problem was after I'd finally hit that point with Animal Crossing, where I was like, okay, well. I've done pretty much everything that needed to be done in a time sensitive manner. I'm getting kind of antsy here. That's when I finally found the excuse to start looking into Twitch streaming, and now that is
Mm.
something I do consistently. I Twitch stream 5 days a week, Thursdays through Mondays. Today, actually, after this interview, Saturdays at 5 p.m. are our specialty streams, which right now is a live dub playthrough of the first Ace Attorney game,
Oh,
where
nice.
myself and a bunch of people in my Discord, we have assigned roles and we read through the game live on Twitch. And then next week, when Crystal Chronicles comes out, I'm going to be
Mm.
streaming that for 7 days straight, and doing single player and multiplayer with all sorts of folks. But here's the fun thing: the Twitch streaming was supposed to be I have way too much time to myself, but
Right.
I still want to be doing something, so I'm going to look into doing this. Like 2 weeks after I started getting into Twitch streaming is
Mm.
when the studios started trying to set everything back up.
Of
So
course they
now
did.
here I am 3 months later, and I've checked my schedule so I can say this with certainty. I have recorded for a studio session of some sort every single weekday this month, with
Oh my
at
God.
least half of those days having two or more sessions on the same day.
Are you
And that is,
serious?
I am
Wow.
100% serious. And that is in addition, if you want, at the end of this interview, I'll have to black out the actual names of the project, but I'll show you the times that they were scheduled for. I
Yeah.
will show you a screenshot of everything that happened over the last month. So I have recorded every single weekday for a studio session of some kind. And that is in addition to any time I spent on auditions, on freelance gigs, which are not mentioned here, and
Mhm.
on my afternoon streams 5 days a week.
Oh my
So
gosh, you are just been like, so it must have been just like a wave of just work that when the
it's,
studios came back up.
without exaggeration, there was a day this week where my first session was at 9:30 in the morning, and when my
Mhm.
final audio editing job of me having to cut the audio that I recorded before I mailed it off finished at 2:30 in the morning the following day.
What the heck, man? You are like, yeah, well, at least you can say that you're not hurting for work,
I'm
man. That's
extremely
impressive.
grateful for that because I know that's not the case with a lot of people, and
Mhm.
it's my wife, even her own job, she works as she was a tutor. I believe she's now like a head advisor, head associate at where she works, and she's able to do that from home. So we're in the middle of a pandemic, and both of us are able to safely work from home at full capacity, and
Right.
I'm immensely grateful for that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm glad you and your wife are definitely staying safe. That's awesome. That's a good deal. I was gonna say something about your Twitch channel because I did stop by to check it out, and it's always fun to see you play play some of these games. So it's always
I
fun.
mean, oh my god, I think I can probably find it super quick, but
Mhm.
there's a quote, there's something that someone posted recently. Yes, here we go. I'll send it over in the chat.
Mhm.
Literally, this is so stupid. So we've been playing Bug Fables twice a week because it's an incredible insect game that's like basically Paper Mario.
Right.
I can probably post in the Zoom group chat.
Oh yeah, I do
The
have it.
long story short is we're very close to finishing the game, but the last time we streamed this, there was a particular enemy that when you paralyzed it, when you did a paralyzed status effect, it would move in a certain way that looked like it was cutting up a Dance Revolution dance pad.
Oh
And
what?
like it was just like it was like dancing super hard on a hard song. And so eventually we got to a battle where there were two different types of that enemy, and we paralyzed the first one and we realized, oh, it does something similar. But there's no way for us, just the way that the mechanics worked, we were like, there's no way that we can paralyze the second one behind it and have both of them doing the DDR dance
I'm looking at
unless
it right now, and it's hilarious. It is hilarious.
unless and I went, chat, should we do it? And chat actually said no, just progress. And but I was the one who went, you know what? This is my game. This is my choice. So we go back to go grab an item that will allow us to paralyze from a distance. And in the
uh,
meantime, we run into like this newly opened area we weren't aware of, burn like half an hour playing that. Point is, this little side quest to get a single item took us like an extra 40 minutes.
because you
But
just
we
had
did
to
it.
see it.
And we did it for the soul. It didn't even, there was nothing to benefit from. There was no bonus from doing this. There was no experience point. We couldn't even get experience points from the battle because we'd already hit the level cap. We spent
Mhm.
an extra 40 minutes just to grab an item that allowed us to go back, do this exact fight, and paralyze both of those enemies so that we could get that clip and go, look, it's DDR bugs.
See, there you go. So, see, it's hashtag small victories. So there
Small
we go.
victory. That
There
is
you go.
that is my Twitch stream in a nutshell. I'll
It's
have
funny.
to find another one. I'm gonna do my best to pay attention to this while I look it up, but I promise it's worth it. There was another part where the characters are walking through an area that's very foggy, and there's this pipe that's pumping air, and it
Mhm,
moves in the overworld. It moves up and down like this, but it's just tall enough that the characters can walk under it when it's at its peak, and it
mhm.
will push down the characters as it's
Totally.
moving up and down, and it starts to look like da 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 da. So of course I
No.
line everybody up so they're all being pushed down, and I get a clip of that. So I
Oh, you
have to
gotta
hope
check
that
that one too.
I
Yeah,
have to
definitely
hope that
send
I
that
can
one.
find it.
All right, well, let's get into it, man. Man, I could probably talk nerdy to you all day when it comes to these like Twitch clips and stuff. That's pretty awesome. All right, but like, let's do a quick introduction. Who is Sean Chiplock? Like, what have you done?
He's a meme lord, apparently, but
yes, you are.
who is Sean Chiplock as of today?
Hmm.
Sean Chiplock is, it seems a little limiting to say a voice actor, but excuse me, it's honestly makes up a huge part of who I am.
Hmm.
Voice acting is not only like one of the first things. By the way, I found the link already and I posted it in the.
Oh
in the
yeah, I'm
group
already
chat.
looking at it too.
It's not only one of the first things in my life that, besides video games or MMOs or stuff like that, that I really attached myself to, that I found purpose in. But it's something that I found a lot of support in. Like, my dad was very supportive of it, even though he didn't understand what it was at first. It's something that has allowed me the opportunity to be more social through interacting with people who support me in my craft. It's been my way of giving back to the community, whether it's through raffles or now directly supporting, other aspiring voiceover artists who want to get into the industry, but, may not have the same financial stability that I do at this point in time. It defines a lot of who I am, and I'm incredibly grateful that I get to do this for a living. The freedom that I get through voiceover. I mentioned about those days where my work starts at 9:30 and doesn't end until 2:30 a.m. the following morning. But the number of days where I have been able to sleep in until 10, 11, sometimes 12 o'clock noon, wake up and not miss anything because my first session isn't until 1 p.m. Or on the
Mhm.
flip side, the days where I've recorded for like video games between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and I drive home. I'm home by 2:45 and my day is done. I
Right.
can relax and do whatever. That
Mhm.
was before I started Twitch streaming. Now I've ruined any chance of having free time to myself at all. But even that in itself, the fact that I have the freedom to Twitch stream and be like, yeah, I want to throw this in on top of everything else and I can make it work.
Mhm.
That kind of freedom is unmatched in this day and age, and especially for someone like me. I've had office jobs, I've had customer service jobs, I've had those typical, you must be in this place from 9 to 5 doing the same thing every day. I
Mhm.
can't do it, man. I've struggled
Yeah.
so much, and I've either been fired from those jobs or I've been quietly let go from those jobs and not asked back for future projects. And this career means so much to me. Beyond that, I'm a huge dungeon crawler buff. I can talk
Mm.
your ear off about Etrian Odyssey. I'm a big fan of RPGs in general, especially dungeon instance based games like Crystal Chronicles,
Mm.
Fantasy Star, just basically the whole series. Monster Hunter. Even though I swear people are going to get mad at me, I have never played an official entry in the Monster Hunter franchise, but I
Wow.
know for a fact I am a huge fan of the Monster Hunter franchise, just because I know it focuses really heavily on those team-based boss battle style
Yes.
mechanics, and I
Those
have
kind of
played
fighting.
those. And I have played those types of games before through stuff like Fantasy Star Zero, and I loved the crap out of it. So even
Right.
though I've never played Monster Hunter, I am a big fan of Monster Hunter.
You already know it's going to be your kind of cup of tea. Yes,
I
makes sense.
can I can live vicariously through everyone else I've seen play it.
Did you play the original Crystal Chronicles when it came out on the GameCube? Like back in the
Oh,
days?
dude,
Yeah.
dude, dude, dude. Let me describe what my plans are for this game when it comes out next week, and this might explain to you how big a fan I am of this game and how much I played it. I'm going to be streaming it for 7 days straight, starting at 11 a.m. and probably ending around midnight to 2 a.m. every day.
Mm.
Uh, I'm going to be giving away a gift sub every time we finish a stage, and I'm going to be giving away a copy of the game or the value of the game every time we finish a year in the game, which I think is 3 stages. So
Yeah.
I'm fully expecting to spend at least like $300 to $500 just giving away copies of this game over the course of the
Just
7 day
you're gonna
stream.
Square's going to be like, do we? It's like, are we affiliated with Sean? Because I
Hey,
mean,
can you
at that
can you
point,
send us a photo of yourself and what your favorite character class is? We're thinking of patching in like a character looks select option.
oh my gosh, man, I can't wait to see that. I'm already hyped about this. I was telling my friends about it too because I remember playing it back in the day on the. I think it was the one that allowed you to play like with a GBA with the advanced cable, and then you could play
Right.
it. You could play it with the GameCube and stuff. I was playing this with my friends for hours on end, and I now since we got the internet and don't have to worry about the cabling, I was like saying, okay, we're on that.
Well,
So
I've got some bad news I wanted to bring up to you because trust me, I've been keeping on top of this. First, the huge plus,
uh-huh.
13 post game dungeons.
Oh
They've
wow,
added
13.
13, 13 new post game dungeons to my understanding, which are tooled around being specifically challenging for veterans of the original game. They said we
Wow.
want to add something that people who are extremely familiar with the game will still find a
Mhm.
suitable challenge. So,
Oh wow.
but but on the other hand, and I'll find this link for you because I literally just posted it before we started this interview.
Mhm.
The multiplayer is region locked.
Oh, it's region locked? Oh, so
It's
you can't play
re-
Japanese with Japanese people?
Correct.
Oh, that's terrible.
I just sent the link, but according to this, it's if you're in America, you can only play with other people from America. If you're in Japan, you can only play with other people from Japan. This game, man,
Oh, man.
it's been all over the place. Like online multiplayer, great.
Uh-huh.
No local
No
multiplayer.
local co-op, yeah.
Okay. Post game dungeons that are brand new, along with new music tracks and bonus bosses, or not bonus bosses, but boss variants. So that the
Mhm.
boss isn't always the same. Amazing region locked multiplayer.
Like, nope, not good enough. I don't know what it is, but we'll hopefully get there to another point. Hopefully when it'll be like, don't worry about it. But then again, in its defense, Switch's network netcode kind of questionable in general. So we'll see how it would have been at best if that was the case. so the next question, what got you into voice acting?
Um. Oh man. Uh, the 3-word answer to that, or no, the 4-word answer to that is
Mhm.
Neopets and Adult Swim. Um.
Neopets got you into voice acting?
Okay, so you have to hear me out. This is the story to tell. So I've always been a night owl kid, and
Uh-huh.
especially in the Midwest, the Neopet servers were based on the West Coast. So when I was
Right.
living in the Midwest, the reset was at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. California time, so
Mhm.
3 a.m. in Michigan. And so because I already enjoyed staying up for Adult Swim for their Toonami block, I would end up staying up until the servers reset, do my dailies in Neopets while listening to the reruns of Adult Swim in the background,
Oh,
and
wow.
then usually get to bed around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning for, to get up for school at 7 a.m. because I'm a
Right.
responsible young adult.
Natural 4
Um,
hours of sleep is what you need.
right. And during one of these evenings, were you someone who watched the Adult Swim block
Oh,
often?
yeah. Old school
Okay.
ones, Tenchi
Do
Muyo,
you
all that?
happen to remember around in the late 2000s about this advertisement series for the Adult Swim website that had like these pastel colored, it was this very pastel colored background with this very simplistically drawn character, and he talked like this, and he would roll around on screen and be like, adultswim.com, it's really cool, you should check it out, it's got games and videos, adultswim.com.
That
Does
do
that
remember that. I vaguely remember that, yeah.
it refuses to leave your brain, but it was
Yes.
so unimportant that you don't fully remember it. Well,
Uh-huh.
it was airing like every 15 minutes on that
Mhm.
on that on that TV channel, and it was driving me insane because it was annoying as hell. So, what does any normal person do when they're being annoyed by something and want it to stop? You guessed it. I did what it asked and went to the website.
Right.
So I click on I was like, all right, you win, annoying ass pastel colored character. I will listen to your instruction. I will go to your website.
Mm.
Um and I'm browsing around on it, and I'm finding some games, trying them out, finding some clips, checking them out, and then one of them was a preview clip for an upcoming episode of Trinity Blood. It was like this hasn't aired yet
Yes.
on Toonami, but we've been given permission to show you like a clip of like the final third of the episode of something like that, like about
Hmm.
16-18 minutes into the episode. And it was that clip of the episode, the English dub, but it was patterned like one of those MTV behind the music video
Oh
clips.
no.
Where no, this is good. Like if you remember that style, when like it would show a music video and little info bubbles would pop up throughout the
Oh,
video.
like pop-up video, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, like
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
the
where
okay.
it would give you tidbits about when it was recorded, special info about the artist, any records
Mhm,
that the song broke. Well, it was doing that for this anime clip, and one of them took you to a behind the scenes video where it showed Troy Baker as Abel Nightroad in the booth
mhm,
recording for one of the scenes in that clip.
mhm.
And it was showing it was like either dual or triple screen, and one of the screens was Troy Baker standing in the booth. There was one of the director, and then the third one was the video, literally the TV screen that he was looking at in the studio, showing the scene that he was dubbing.
Oh,
And
cool.
it was literally the same process as what I now do. So you could
Mhm.
hear the director saying, "All right, let's try this on this line. Give me a little bit more of this." They were doing a second take. You heard the boop, 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 and then Troy Baker talking, and he starts talking, and they're not doing anything special with his voice at that
Mhm.
moment in time. It's just Troy Baker talking out of his mouth hole. And you hear him and you see the characters' lip flaps moving at the same time. And it was at that precise moment that something in me went, "What is this? What 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 am I watching? Like what look at this thing. Isn't it neat? Why do I feel like my life is complete? How
Oh,
do
no.
I get more involved into this acting thing?" So
That's awesome.
and it lit a fire inside of me where I didn't fully comprehend what I was even looking at. But for the first time in my life, for the first time in my high school career, there was something that had grasped my interest that
Mhm.
I wanted to know more about. I wanted to do more about. And that's really where it all started. That's where it all snowballed. I said, I don't fully understand this, but I'm gonna learn more about it, and I'm gonna become a part of this. I know what I want my focus to be on now. And
That is awesome.
that's where the whole voiceover thing started, was very late December 2006. I believe it was December 29th. and
Mhm.
and as of January 1st 2007, that is when I began in the world of voiceover.
That is so cool. Oh, that is so. Let's see. I love that story. That's an awesome story to have, man. That's so cool. That like the one thing that you figured out, like you just knew this was something that you were wanting to get into, and then you just now you had a medal essentially to be like, okay, this is what's going to happen the
Right.
rest for the rest of my life. That's so awesome, especially it's so young and like high school. I mean, that's great. That's perfect timing. So, like and I know that you're a professional when it comes to your craft, and but do you have like a personal preference when when you decide to do projects? Like
Personal preference in what regard?
like if you had to choose a project between voicing a character in an anime or gaming, like which do you naturally lean towards?
My
To
heart has always been in the anime sector, and that's just
uh-huh.
because it's anime that got me into this craft to begin with.
Mhm.
So even though anime is one of the lowest paying forms of voiceover in existence,
It is.
an average video game, I believe the current video game rate is now $250 an hour with a 2-hour minimum.
Uh-huh.
Anime is 75.
Wow, that doesn't even make what really like
It's mostly because anime has been left off of the negotiation table for decades when it comes to what the union does.
uh
And the union basically kind of sets the foundation both for itself and for non-union, which non-union isn't really held to any particular industry standards, but it,
mhm,
it it does closely align with what the union does in most regards. Usually when it
wow.
comes to like studio session time limits or payment scale. But the union's been mostly focused on stuff like commercials, live action,
Mhm,
film, video games. anime just hasn't been given that same level of respect for the longest time, and so the rates have not changed from where they were decades ago.
So are we
Um,
talking specifically like anime? But what about regular like animated, like maybe let's say
Animated
U.S. animated
shows are different.
shows?
Animated shows will typically be 200 to 250 an hour with a 2-hour minimum.
Wow, that is
But
a
but
real big cut.
anime is considered picture dubbing. It is a different form of dubbing to a pre-existing format.
Hmm.
In fact, I think the rate is the same for union dubbing of like live action series. I think that the payment rate is like $63, $68 an hour, something like that. So dubbing in general is a
Hmm.
much lower rate than video games or prelay animation, as it's called.
Wow. Okay, I did not know. I like that. See, that's pretty. I mean, I could kind of understand where they're coming from on what they're saying on that because they're basically saying since it's essentially pre-existing, the animation is pre-existing. It wasn't built from the ground up around with you as the original actor.
Mhm.
For that kind of thing, I can kind of understand that. But to go from a 200 to 75 drop, that's pretty
Yep.
steep. But
Yep.
oh, I'm sorry, I digress. What were you saying? What was your answer on that? Like you said,
Oh, well,
naturally the
yeah,
anime.
my heart's always been in anime because it's what got me into the craft. So like, you know, something like being Rivali from and Teba from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild
Mhm.
is huge and it means a great deal to me. And yet there's that part of my heart that is still even more excited about the fact that I'm coming back as Subaru Natsuki for season 2 of ReZero
Yeah, that's
because
awesome.
it's the main character, like
Mhm.
in a series where I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this like that character is the focus of the show.
Oh no, you
There
can
were
brag.
in season 1, there was there was a point where the director said, "I thought this might interest you, but we were recording for a certain volume, and a volume typically is a set of 4 episodes in a given series."
Mhm.
And they said, "In this volume, your character's line count is higher than the combined total of every single other character who speaks in
My
this
God.
volume,
Wow.
including lines that are just reactions. Like if the line is that they just do a gasp, they counted that. And even including all of those, the combined total of every single other character was
Mhm.
still lower than the number Subaru had.
Wow, that is crazy. You didn't know it was that much work. I mean, I
It's
knew
a
he was the major, but wow,
it's a
wow.
lot of talking.
That's crazy. But then like it's kind of weird because like what like I didn't know personally that you were also the voice of Noob Sabot in Mortal Kombat
Noob
11.
Saibot, yep,
Yeah,
correct.
like I was just like cuz like I would say that character is probably the furthest I have ever seen you from all your other
The
characters that you have ever done cuz
the
that
funniest Go ahead, sorry, I interrupted.
oh, no, that's right. It's like the graspiness of your voice and stuff. I was just like, what? It's like that's really Sean. It's like really.
The funniest part of that is like for the first week after the trailer came out, people thought it was Frank Welker doing his Dr. Claw voice. And they didn't when it finally got out that it was me, everything went from, "Oh, I know who voiced that. I recognize that voice too." "Who the hell is this? Who is this? Who's this greenhorn? What? Sean Chapstick? What?"
With Dr. Claw, we talk about Inspector Gadget, like, I'll get you next time,
Yeah,
Gadget.
yeah.
That kind of stuff.
But
Oh my
I didn't
god.
even use that, and I'm not saying this to be insulting, but like I didn't even use that as an inspiration. My interpretate or my impression of the character and that voice came from Black Doom from the Shadow the Hedgehog game that came out for GameCube.
That is so
And like
random. Black dude with
because
Shadow the Hedgehog.
I played through it and I really enjoyed how that character sounded. And I when the audition time came for Noob Saibot, I was doing 2 takes for the character and the specs. He was codenamed. The project was codenamed. I didn't know what it was actually for, but they said
Mhm,
that they were looking for an ethereal wraith-like voice. And so the first voice I did was actually closer to being up here,
mhm.
like something higher pitched. And I said, okay, well,
Yes.
for take 2, I want to do something different. So I was like, okay, well, if I did high pitched and ghostly for the first one, let's go low pitched and demonic for the
Mm.
second take. And so that's where that other voice, I was like, I remember Black Doom sounding like this. That was very, creepy and demonic. Let's go for something like that. So that was my second take. That was the one that they cast me off, and that's the voice that you get in the finished product.
Did they synthesize your voice in any way, or was that just
I
purely you?
feel like they did add a slight echo aura effect to it,
Uh-huh.
just to give it that sort of it's larger than the character itself feeling. But they
Oh.
didn't do as much as I expected. So a lot of it is still just me.
Oh, that is that. No, I have to say it's very impressive because like the way he talks was that ghostly image of it. I
Right.
would say it was incredible. So no,
I
you did a
do
great
think
job on that.
what I tell people is I do believe they added an echo slash aura effect, but I do
Hmm.
not think they lowered the pitch of the character. There
So
are
did you?
times like, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you did like a you still so you did the graspiness throughout that whole time when
Oh
you did
yes,
all that.
absolutely. I
Oh
I
wow.
do. I'm pretty confident in saying that what the bass voice you hear for the character was pure out of my throat. They didn't add anything to that, but the echo effect was something that they added in post filters.
Wow, that is wild, man. Sean, you did a great job there. I just want to say that, like,
Right?
with that character, I definitely love that. But I
Thank
know,
you.
yes, but was there a challenging character you had played, or something that was like uncommon for you to play as throughout your career?
Deku Tree for sure. Great Deku Tree, which is ironic because he was originally the only character I was cast as in Breath of the Wild. The two birds came later. But he was a case where I couldn't do what I figured the client was looking for specifically, so I had to compromise and say, okay, well, what can I offer based on my vocal type and my experience, my skill set, my vocal range. Um, so he was a character where I wanted to go for something like Hive Mind from the Halo franchise, like a
Mhm.
a much deeper, more alien type of voice, but I couldn't do that, or I couldn't do
Mm,
that realistically without it being obvious that I was forcing a voice. So I compromised by doing a deep, wide open, breathy wisdom type of voice. Something that because again, this was a game that was code named, so I didn't
mhm,
know at the time what it was actually for, but I went for that sort of um I speak slowly because what I say is important, and I'm a big creature, so I have to push a lot of air out. I can't tighten up my would be throat and speak in a higher pitch like I do normally. So big, slow, but not dumb,
mhm.
wise, measured, just knows what they plan on saying and wants to make sure they are listened to.
Oh,
So,
okay. That's pretty cool. And that, I'm assuming that made you improve better as a voice actor in that kind of instance too. I'm assuming, right?
right. Yep.
Cool deal. And and like you said earlier at the beginning of the interview though, like how your every day is now, but like voice acting during the pandemic compared to how it normally was, like what like how is it, like is it like how different is it on when you do these gigs?
I can only speak for myself, like it for the most part, and my response to that is, it was a multi-step process. When the pandemic first started, work completely dried up. I
Hmm.
applied for unemployment for the first time in my life. Um, Once I had to do the studio upgrades, it was more time spent trying to do tech tests with studios than actually recording. But now that everything is finally set up, now that I've got the equipment to remove a lot of that background noise, it I think this has become the new norm. I'm sure that there's going to be clients that want me to drive into their studios once we're finally allowed to again, just because they want everybody on the same equipment. But for the most part, it feels like nothing has changed in regards to my workloads. And in fact, I think this is the busiest period of my year that I have had the entire year, if not one of the busiest periods of my career, top three within the last decade for sure.
You like, I mean, like, well, you like you said, you had to upgrade to a whole new sound
I
studio and
spent
stuff
about
because, like,
$3,000 upgrading,
right,
turning. See if I can move the webcam a lot.
uh-huh,
Move it enough. Give me a second. Uh, that room in there, what used to be a $250 in a closet corner setup. That entire room is now modified into a makeshift recording booth, wall to wall acoustic foam, and on the ceiling that I mounted by hand.
wow,
In addition to other equipment. So, and the total cost of that was about $3,000. But
so crazy.
and
So, I mean,
that's why I say I can only speak for myself
mhm,
because financially I was able to afford that type of expense, and
Right.
I had the space for it, but not every actor had the time, the money, or the room space to be able to do that. So some of them are still experiencing what I did back in March, April, May,
Mm.
today. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Either way, though, it kind of seems like it's kind of a good thing that I'm not saying the pandemic is good, but I was saying it's like it kind of forced you to kind of do something with your setup to kind of make it sound more
Right.
padded and stuff. It's like you don't want to do it, but once you finally do, and then it's like, wow, this sounds amazing.
Yep.
It sounds amazing now. It's like, oh, okay, but yeah, so and if anyone who has not been hearing this podcast at this time in this episode, people, you are a gamer. Obviously, you are a gamer, and
I'm a specific genre gamer. Like dungeon
yeah,
crawlers are my jam, RPGs are my jam,
mhm.
monster taming and collection games are my weakness. They're not just my jam; they are a vice for me.
You know what's funny? Pokemon Sword and Shield is my second ever Pokemon. I never played any of the other ones. The only other Pokemon I played was Pokemon Red. And the reason why I even played Pokemon Red was I found it underneath my bus seat when I was at school. And then 2 weeks later, I found the Game Boy Pocket underneath my bus seat. And then I was able to play it, play it like that.
Oh my
But like,
god!
yeah, yeah, so I got lucky. But I could easily see how you can get into that world of like just wanting to collect everything and try to get everything. So I'll definitely say. But by the way, also guys, definitely check out his Twitch page. It's Sonic Mega.
Yep, same as my
Sonic Mega on
Twitter.
Twitch. Yes, on Twitter, on his same as his Twitter exactly. But for the most part, even though you're saying that you are specifically like a specific genre, you are pretty diverse when it comes to the gaming itself. Do you have like a favorite, like a go-to on your game that you that you definitely like that you play like over and over again or anything like that?
Sorry, I was trying to think about games that I could bring up, and I zoned out during your initial question. ADHD, it's fun, right? Could you repeat that question for me?
Oh yeah, I was just saying, it's like, is there a specific like game or something that you like to that you can easily come back to, or something that you like normally like to play? Play.
Game that I like to go back to, Crystal Chronicles, which is why
Oh
I'm
yeah.
super excited for next week. A lot of the games that I would go back to, I've kind of reached a point now where I have beaten them so thoroughly and enough
Hmm.
times that I've kind of like, I have experienced them to the full extent where my heart is like I have given them the love that they deserve, and I've been able to
Right.
move on to other things. Um, I would love, since they are on this train of doing HD remakes, since they did Secret of Mana and Trials now, the next game in the franchise for the Mana series is Legend of Mana. And
Legend of
Legend of
Mana.
Mana was a big part of my childhood. You know,
Hmm.
they just did Crystal Chronicles. Come on,
Hmm.
Square, do Legend of Mana next. Let me voice in it, please. Oh my god, I will do anything. Um, Jade Cocoon 2 was a big one because of monster collections. I don't think it'll ever happen, but a port of Bomberman 64, The Second Attack, that was a really big.
Digimons? What about the Digimons?
I haven't experienced those yet. Like
What?
I've
Oh my
heard,
god.
I've heard great things about Cyber Sleuth, and I do want to play it. I just haven't gotten around to it because again, schedule is busy as hell,
Oh
and my
yeah,
free
yeah, yeah.
time is not only limited, it's already filled with other things.
Did
So
you ever did you ever own a PlayStation, like the original PlayStation? I don't know how old you are. So
not the
like
original PlayStation. The
okay.
closest I got was the PlayStation 2, and that was through a friend's house.
Okay.
I didn't start adding a PlayStation to my household until I was with my wife, and she brought
Oh
over her
wow.
PS2, PS3.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, that makes sense then. Because like when the original Digimons came out, I know you said you liked monster captures and stuff. The original Digimon introduced the way you captured monsters besides playing the game was like you can also capture monsters on any CD. So like basically
Mm,
like a music CD or CD-ROMs, and you just load it up. There's a special monster for each of any kind of CD that's out there in existence during its time. It was
interesting.
crazy. Yeah, it was really crazy, but it's like, and there were some rare ones and stuff like that. So like I don't know, like it was really innovative for its time, and but that was the one that I remember so vividly from any of them. But that's
That's
cool.
super cool.
Yeah, and uh I have to ask though, like Trails of Cold Steel 4 was announced, localization was announced already, but they didn't but I wasn't sure, but are you coming back to the last rendition of Trails 4?
And you're asking if I'm coming back, like if I'm
Yes.
returning as Reen?
Yes.
The problem with that sort of thing is I don't know,
Uh-huh.
and even if I do find out, I'm not allowed to say anything until it's been made publicly aware.
It's
And
amazing.
even
It's
even in the case where even if I know I'm not coming back, it's not
mhm,
fair for me to say, oh, I know for a fact I'm not returning, because
mhm,
that can cause people to go, okay, well, we know it's not him. We're gonna move on and start asking other people, and it's just a weird middle ground where it's like
mhm.
on some level I am responsible for not contributing to that sort of culture. So
Right.
the answer I have
Delicate
to give,
balance.
like, I'm aware that there's a trailer out that where
Mhm.
someone talks that I'm assuming is Reen. I'm aware because people have reached out to me that it apparently sounds like me. I can't confirm or deny if that's me, because if it is, obviously I can't spill that info ahead of time. And if it isn't, I don't want to send people off asking other actors the same thing that they're asking me. So my
Right.
response to that is, I guess we'll just have to find out.
Fair
Like,
enough. That's a good short answer towards it. I will say though, like, I mean, I'm actually surprised because I believe that game comes out next month. No, in October, I believe. So,
I believe that
uh,
is the case. Yes.
yeah. So, like, it's surprising that they still haven't officially announced the cast yet on that. But yeah,
Right.
but I'm not gonna NIS is a lot smarter than me, so I'm not gonna say anything towards that. So and but prior to that, like, I mean, you've been voicing Reen for over 5 years now. I mean, the original one I believe was
Oh
in
my god, has it been that
2014.
long?
Yeah, I think the PS3 release of the first one came in 14, I believe. So published in
For
14.
wait, was that in Japan or in America?
No, in America. 14 14 in America on
Oh
the
my
PS3.
god.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like I was thinking about, like, I was looking back at all of this and I was like, cuz we did the remake of it, the PS4 re-release came out last year. And then prior to that, it was like 2 or 3 years prior to that when the first ones came out. So I was just like, holy crap, okay. So like yeah, so basically, I mean, you've grown up like with your career and
I've
all
grown
with the
up.
voices.
Okay, that's something you're gonna have to fix.
Right. Well, like, I mean, the characters pretty much stuck with you voice acting throughout your career as a voice actor though too. Was there anything that like stuck with you voice acting him during that time, or anything
I've
that you
grown alongside
remember?
Reed, to be
Mhm.
honest. Like,
Mhm.
a thing that I've told people is when I voiced him in the first game, I was, it almost is weird how the growth that I experienced alongside Reen actually applied to his character's growth in the game series itself.
Mhm.
Um, because in the hold on, I'm gonna get some water because I've not
Oh
hydrated in
yeah.
like 20 minutes.
Go for it.
In the first game, um, I was younger, restless, and really enthusiastic about doing battle lines.
Mhm.
I've told people that I feel like I did incredibly well with my battle efforts and battle lines in the first Trails game, but that my story performance was lacking.
Mhm.
And it kind of works where Reen was someone who went to a military academy. He expected he would have to do some fighting, but he wasn't aware that he was going to have to play mediator between, the nobles and the commoners. Um, and so maybe he wasn't the best at being that grounding force for everybody. In Trails of Cold Steel 2, I feel like I did way better with my story performances, but I really do think that my battle efforts were not as consistently good as they were in the first game. And that kind of translates to how Reen was in Trails of Cold Steel 2, where he realized by the second game that he had to be that mediator, but he was
Mhm.
starting to have doubts about his fighting. He's like, I'm not sure I want to be doing this. This doesn't feel right. It feels like we're tearing the country apart. You're tearing me apart, Arabonia. Um, but by the third game, Reen has kind of accepted this role where he has to be a mentor to a new group, to the new class
Mhm.
7.
Mhm.
And he knows that he has to help everyone come to terms with each other and accept each other and work as a team. But he also is an established leader at this point in terms of being an actual general, being
Mhm.
a head instructor, a teacher at the school. So he has to be able to teach them how to fight for their lives at the same time as well. And Trails of Cold Steel 3 is really where I found that perfect balance. I said it on Twitter when I was recording for the game. I said, guys, this is, without a doubt, my strongest showing as Reen Schwarzer since the series began. The story stuff is good. The battle stuff is good. I think you will truly, genuinely enjoy this, and it is the best performance I've given Reen out of the games that have been released so far.
No,
So
I'm looking forward to it because like I've been running the Trails of Cold Steel run right now. I just actually at the end of this week, like maybe 2 days ago, I just finished two, and I was like, wow, this is. I mean, like Reed has grown quite a bit compared to the first one to the second one.
right.
Second one just felt like they just thrusted
So
him into
now
this position and stuff like that.
I
So
believe in Trails of Cold Steel 4, his ogre mode basically comes out on full display. So I guess if I end up coming back, I'll have to be like, all right, guys, to get to embody Trails of Cold Steel 4, I'm now a furry. I've taken my own internal, beast mode that's living deep inside of my heart. Thank you for your support.
right. I mean, have you played the Trails games yourself too, right? Like, I mean, I know like some people may not have played it, or
I
did you
played
play
the
any of
first
them?
one all the way through, and I
Uh-huh.
played a big portion of the second game before I came in to record for the third. But I
Mm,
have not played any of them since then. And I really, now that we have the remaster ports on the PlayStation for one and
mhm,
two, I would
mhm.
really like to find a chance to go back from the first game and play all the way through, so that I can experience it in chronological order at its best.
Oh, so that's pretty great. Well, I gotta know though too. Like, I mean, if you can remember, like, who was your best girl in Trails itself? Like the
Horrible
one that you
bike.
remember? Orbital
Horrible
Bike?
bike.
Really? Wow, would
Because
never expect that.
what are you talking about? You didn't even have to spend any bonding points before she let you ride her.
That's a good
So
point. That's a good point. You have no, yeah, you didn't have to impress. It just
that baby
happened.
knows how to purr, okay?
Oh god, that's hilarious. I love that answer. I really do love that answer. My personal favorite. I'm on the veer. I was with Emma mostly, but like Emma was one of my favorites in that character. She was so strong in that game for me. But that is crazy. All right. Uh last question. When I found out that you played like, Subaru Natsuki, I was totally hyped. I was like, wow, I didn't know that you played that you were the voice of that. That's pretty cool. And Re Zero is one of my favorite series, like that's currently going on now. Especially it's been like has it been 3 years or 2 years between season one to
I
season
believe
two?
3 years, because I think the
Yeah,
first one released in 2017, around the same timetable as Breath of the Wild and Persona 5.
yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, so definitely. And what I love about it is that Subaru is a different kind of protagonist from the most part in what you normally see in any kind of isekai series, which was like, mostly in an isekai series, it's like person from a different world comes in, but then they bring in, they're overpowered or they're super
Right.
strong or they do all these different
Right.
kinds of things. Instead, he's just like, he is legitimately he was useless in the real world. No offense in any ways, but like useless, like as in like he was a shut-in, he didn't do anything. And then he's still technically a shut-in now, but he's like opening up slowly but
Right.
surely itself. But the progression of him to become a good person is what makes
Right.
this really, really good. So was there anything playing Subaru that was different from like, the kind of roles that you played before, played in other series that you were a part of?
Do you mean like in terms of other anime or just other projects in general?
Another animes. Well, you know what? No, like in general. Let's just say in general.
Well, what's interesting is, eh, even if we focus specifically on other anime, it
Mhm.
makes it harder to answer, but also easier to answer. Harder because my anime portfolio is a lot smaller than like
Mhm.
my video game portfolio. Like ReZero was like one of the first times that I had a character role that lasted longer than 4 episodes. But
Even
God, what?
JoJo?
Well,
Even your JoJo character?
JoJo came after ReZero.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
So at
Wow.
the time that I recorded for it, it was a new experience for me. But what a hell of a first time recurring role experience, right?
Oh, no, no
Um,
kidding.
but that also makes it easier because it was one of those cases where I knew going into it how intense. Excuse me. I knew going into it that, those water burps when the air finally comes back up.
Right.
I knew going into it just how intense he was, but like again, I keep coming up with cases where like I really am Subaru and I don't realize it until I think about it. When there was a good chance I was going to be cast as the character, the client or the director came up and said, I just want you to be aware of how vocally intense this series is. I want you to be aware of how, intense it could be on your throat, the fact that it could wear you out, how often you're going to have to scream or cry or do all this other stuff. And I want your confirmation that you are aware and prepared and will take care of yourself so that you can consistently record for this. And I
Mm,
said, yes, I'm aware. I'm ready. I've seen the entire series. I know what to expect. And there was that part of me that was like, this is my chance to prove myself to everybody else and be like, I am capable. You can trust me with these types of roles, with these major roles, and I can
mm.
bring to the table what I need to bring to be allowed to voice main characters, which kind of translates over to Subaru's desire to prove himself to everyone in the world. When he finally realizes that he has nothing special going for him, he goes, well, screw that, then I'm going to make something out of it. I'm
Right.
I'm going to put in the work required to convince you that I am worth keeping around.
Mm.
So we both had that same level of desire of, I don't care if I'm not good enough, I'm going to become good enough in the middle of doing this.
Yeah. Wow. That's a very good, very good parallel comparisons. Wow. That's so crazy. No, I hope, like, I'm really glad, like, I'm loving like, I don't know, have you been up to date on the season now? Like, are you like, keeping up with, I know the localization hasn't started yet for ReZero, or has it? I don't really remember.
No, it's been announced that season 2 is beginning, but since I don't think they've posted anything about the actual recording schedule, so
Yeah.
there's nothing I can say about that at this time. I
Right.
don't think they would care, but again,
Mhm.
my rule of thumb is if it's not public knowledge, it probably
Then
shouldn't be
don't.
private knowledge either.
Right, definitely. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to your performances in the second season because I'm already watching it on Verve and stuff, and I've just been like, I've been digging it every Friday. Friday morning is the first thing I do before I go start my work my work regiment. So definitely, Sean Chiplock, it was great to talk to you. It was really cool geeking out with you today. Is there anything you would like to plug before I let you go?
Absolutely. I hate, I hate to be that guy, but it
Mhm.
really is the Twitch channel right now. And it's not because I'm trying to make money. Legit. I don't care if people subscribe to me or not. I don't need the money. You're not going
Mhm.
to get anything special in Discord for subscribing besides like a roll color, but that's basically it. But the one thing I would really really enjoy is if I could hit partner. And that's just because hitting partner on Twitch, which the only thing I'm missing is I have to have an average of 75 viewers on my streams over a 30-day rolling period.
Mhm.
Um, and the reason is because when you hit partner, it's one of those, once you hit it, you don't have to maintain a certain thing to keep it. So
Right.
you have to have an average of 75 viewers to be given or offered partnership. But once you hit partner, even if your stream dips and you average like 50, 45, 40 viewers a stream, they're not going to say, we're going to take it away from you unless you bring it back up. You just have to be active and interactive with your fans. But hitting partner unlocks like all of these perks. It gives you the ability to do like collaborative streams with other
Mhm.
streamers, multi-streaming, um, team streaming, stuff like that. And it also kind of removes the pressure of trying to hit partner in the first place.
Mhm.
So, right now there are a lot of cases where I discover things and I'm like, oh, I want to do a bonus stream all of a sudden. Excuse me. I want to showcase this thing I just found, or I'm excited. I don't want to wait until my scheduled stream to show this off. But I can't, because if I go outside of my stream schedule, there's a good chance that not as many people are going to be aware of it or available to show up, and it's going to
Mhm.
tank my stream viewership average. Once
Right.
I hit partner, that doesn't matter anymore. I can stream at my own whim. I can do bonus streams if, like, oh, my wife is out of the house, she's going to go hang with friends. So if I wanted to, I could just stream whatever I'm currently playing for
Mhm.
funsies. So please consider checking out my streams. I don't care if you just like mute the tab and leave it in the background and then never touch it again.
Mhm.
Like, that still counts.
What's your stream though? Like,
It's the
your
same
what's
as
it
my
like?
Twitter, twitch.tv
Sonic Mega.
slash Sonic Mega, SONICMEGA. I don't know when this podcast is going live, but I currently do 5 days a week, Thursdays through Mondays. Generally, I start between 5 and 6 p.m. Um, I keep a rotating slate of games. You know, we had Final Fantasy. I believe after Final Fantasy, we took a break. Crystal Chronicles starts next week. After Crystal Chronicles finishes up, and I mean, once we're done with the 7-day stream marathon, I believe the new Friday stream will be Rogue Legacy 2. Because
Nice.
I'm also a really big fan of those games where you play. Here comes the ReZero. Here comes the Super Nazi. I love those games where you get as far as you can, you die, you use the materials you collected to build stuff and boost your stats. You run again, you get a little bit farther. You know,
Oh
that's
yeah. The repeats.
so.
Awesome. Well, yeah, Sean, thank you so much for stopping by as always. It's great to talk to you as always. And guys, thank you for listening to our newest episode of the Pop Culture Gems podcast. We'll be releasing this I don't even know when we're going to release it, but well, stay tuned for when we're going to release this thing. We're going to be on you can definitely check it out on podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, what have you, any
Is
page.
it coming to Dreamcast?
Oh, except Dreamcast, maybe Bleemcast, but we'll definitely gonna we're definitely gonna be on our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com. So just tune in and watch out for more. So this is Davis signing off. Y'all take it easy.